Welcome back to another music production live session. This is the second installment of a live session, music production live session. So welcome back to everyone who's tuned in last time, and welcome to any newcomers. For those who are new, we have a chat box, and feel free to ask any questions about music production and Logic, and I will get to them if they are fairly relatable to what we're going to work on today, which is sidechain compression with bass and drums. But besides that, small caveat before we get going, I do live sessions every Monday and Friday. Mondays, which is today, is music production, and on Fridays we are going to talk about music marketing. So more like how do we actually market and release our music. We'll talk about that stuff on Friday and different things you can do to promote and market your music. And then the Monday, it's all about creating and the fun stuff, really. Creating, songwriting, producing music, and how we can do that from scratch if you're a very beginner, or even if you're more intermediate and advanced. We'll kind of do the whole broad spectrum of things. So I'm just going to do a bit of a welcome in the chat. So, hey, Ricardo, thanks for joining. And just going to kind of wait a little bit, a couple minutes before people get into the chat so we can start asking questions. But in the meantime of that, I'll get my Logic session going here, and I will start preparing a bit of a song for us to go through and take a look at how we can sidechain our bass guitar or a synth bass, or whatever bass we're using, with our kick drum. And I'll show you how you can do that, and then you can recreate this in your songs, and you'll see the benefit of sidechain, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Hey Arjo, is this online for DJ? I'm not really sure what you mean, other than like, am I going to be doing like a DJ kind of lesson? I would say no, I'm not going to be doing a DJ lesson here in this live chat. This is all about music production inside Logic Pro X, but if you don't use Logic as a DAW, you still can use these music production principles. Sidechain compression especially is a tool that every DAW does, and the principles are the same. So here we go. I have a little kind of like guitar bit here that we're going to work with. So this is what this sounds like. Just going to pop that stereo out down so you don't blast your ears. So that's a little guitar loop, kind of indie pop vibe, and I'm going to just cut this up quickly so we can have it as a proper loop because there's some tails on the end. So I'm just going to right click and cut that. That's a right click tool that I use on the toolbar in Logic. I have that as a right click mouse tool. So I'll kind of line this up with a bit of a template in Logic. I have just a general template here with a general song structure. So now that I've cut that loop, it just goes perfectly, and I can have that extend for as long as I want. So it's nice and perfect, goes with our tempo of 120. Cool. Okay, so I now want to kind of break down, let's say like we're already getting into, hey, Shubham, nice to see you again. Thanks for joining the knowledge chat. Anyone just arriving, we're just getting started here on a music production live session. This is the second installment, and we're going to be doing sidechain compression on a bass synth or bass guitar. We'll do both, it doesn't matter, and how we can do that with our kick drum, and then how you can do that in Logic or any other DAW that you're using. And so I've just kind of got going with the guitar here. Please feel free to ask questions. Like, I like these live sessions because it's a time for you to actually ask questions, and I can get back to you in real time right away. So please use that to your advantage. if you have questions about music production or Logic, if you're genuinely interested, please do ask questions because I'm happy to answer them. And that's the benefit of live sessions when you're watching just like a regular recorded video of me on my channel about music production, marketing, or Logic. I can't get back to you. I'll try to get back to you in the comments, but with live, it's pretty cool that we can just talk in real time. Yes, go eat dinner. Dinner is important. Food is important. I'm kind of hungry too. It's 6:30 in Berlin. Let me know if you're just coming in the channel, where you're tuning in from, what time it is. I'm always interested as well. Curious to know who's watching and if what the most appropriate time would be for the most amount of people watching. Perhaps this is the time where everyone is sleeping that wants to watch. Who knows? So please post where you come from, where you're watching, and what kind of music you're producing. So this is, I'll get into this a bit now. Oh, cool. You're from Rotterdam. That's super cool. Rotterdam. I guess it's, what time would it be in Rotterdam? Pretty similar, no? So that's a nice vibe. I'm going to just do a bit of a small kick and snare pattern here with the step sequencer. I've just opened up the drum bus here with the Drum Machine Designer. And I'm going to go to the drum track here, open up my editor and go to the step sequencer and just plug in a bit of a pattern here. San Diego, California. Welcome, Rick. All the way from sunny California, 9:30 a.m. So must be having your coffee, getting started for the day. I'm having kind of my afternoon tea, if you will, ending the day here. So on all corners of the world we have here. Well, we still need some more corners maybe on the east side. You're welcome. You're very welcome for all these tutorials. I love doing this kind of stuff. So it's my pleasure. So I'll do a kick, kind of maybe a 64 step kick snare, kick snare, something like. Checking. Okay, I don't know what happened there. It looked like the interface just went out for some reason. Checking here. Check. Checking the voice. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Not really sure what happened there. Just going to check the interface on Logic quickly. Cool. Yeah, thank you, Ganja K, for pointing that out. Yeah, I love to especially help people who are just beginning too, because I know how overwhelming it can be I was there, and it sucks to be like in Logic and be like, what the heck is going on? There's so many things to press, and I don't know what to do, but I know what I want it to sound like, but I don't know how to make it, and I know how frustrating that can be. So sorry about the sound there for a minute. I'm back up and running. Hopefully that doesn't cut out again, but I'm maxed out in volume. Okay. The levels are low sound. Man, I'm pushing the gain. I think my computer's gonna blow up. I'm running OBS and live stream at the same time, but let's try that. I bumped the gain up. Should be good now. Checking some settings here. All right, checking, check. Checking. Hey, sorry guys. It looks like I had to reset the whole thing for some reason. So we're back up and running. Levels should be better now, and we can kind of get on with the show again. Checking add levels again one more time. Okay, cool. Yeah, that should be much better now. Much more clear. Oh, good now. Okay, sorry about that. Technical issues, right? Okay, let's just get a quick pattern up, and then let's get a bass in there so we can start sidechaining. And welcome back to anyone, or welcome back to me, because I was messed up with the sound. So welcome back me, and then sorry anyone who's new here. We're just kind of getting into sidechain compression here, making a bit of a kick snare pattern with this guitar loop, and then we're gonna put some bass over it. So I'm laying the snares on like the 2 and 4s. So that's a bit of a good pattern now. Just quick mix. The guitar's way too loud. All right. Question from Shubham is how, can you tell me how to, can you tell recording vocals editing? What's your, can you be more specific, Shubham? I don't actually, it's a pretty broad question. So just be more specific, and then I can try to probably answer that for you. All right, so that's kick and snare, super simple, and not going to do much of a mix right now. I like to use bass. I use a trillion bass. It's super deep bass sounds and really, really good for professional productions. But let's just use something stock, because like I'm not sure what you guys are using. So if we can use the same things, there's a good sub bass in one of these monophonic synths, I think. Maybe subsonic bass. Well, that's too low. Is it the ES1, I think, actually? Just looking for a stock bass in Logic. Yeah, I think these are good. So these are like sub basses in Logic. These are all virtual instruments for free. So let's just use this deep bass and let us just get a quick bass line, and then we can sidechain it. And we're in the key of D sharp here. Wow, it's aggressive. Sorry to fill your ears with that. All right, slay that in. Okay, let's quantize that quickly. I can quantize by 1/8 notes. It should knock it in. Actually, 1 whole notes is better. And so those notes knock into place when I quantize by whole notes, because I'm playing whole notes. And I'll just cut that off at the beginning here. Maybe that's so deep. Something else. Wow. I'm just going to go with the sub bass right now. How to start editing recording? How to start recording? Are you looking, Shubham, to start editing vocals or recording vocals? That would be my next question to you. Let's just make that kick a bit punchier. I'm going to lay these out in MIDI tracks, convert to MIDI, and then separate, by note pitch. That just gives me my kick there. I'm just going to just make it a bit punchier for a second. You can just kind of take this as, I don't know, something that you could do. You could hear kicks like this if you'd like. Just gonna compress it quickly. I want the kick to be punchy because I want you to be able to hear, like, when we get into the actual sidechain, we want to be able to hear everything. Maybe we should just add some hats for a second. Let's see. Just quickly. Just choosing the key of the hi-hat. Okay. I'm going to quantize that by 16th notes to lock that into place. I think there was a wrong note in the bass guitar. Yeah, here. That was just a semitone down. All right, so now we have a little groove going, and I'll just how to start recording vocals. How to start recording vocals. Okay, so to start recording vocals, just a quick little tangent. You would go to like track here, and you go to new audio track, and then you would call this like vocals or vocal, and then you would press R to arm the track to record, and you just record. So a couple prerequisites that you need to have are like a microphone attached to your computer, and either it's attached through a USB, like directly into your computer, or you have a audio interface, which is a box that connects your microphone to your computer. Because sometimes like microphones, I can't really unplug mine, but they have like a really big, it's an XLR input and output. So you can't plug that into your computer. So you need to use something called an audio interface, where you plug that into your audio interface, and then you plug the audio interface into your computer. So you need that equipment. It's super important. And then plug it in. Go to your settings here. So Command, comma, and you'll open up your audio settings in Logic, and make sure your output and input device are your audio interface. I'm using the Scarlett right now. So that's my interface. I would decrease your buffer size to like 128. It's too high right now, but mine's high because I'm not recording, because you want that at a low buffer rate to reduce latency. And then you're ready to go. Press record and start singing away. If you don't have a track, you can just like get Apple Loops over on the right side here, and then find some loops to sing over. So I hope that helped. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay, so the reason that like why SideChain is so valuable is because the kick drum is so important in music, and the kick and bass share the same frequencies. So if like, let's see, if let's just open up an EQ, and I'll show you like the bass drum is all in this area, right? It's all the low end, and so is the kick. The kick is all in that area as well. So they both share the same frequencies, which is cool, but it also can get really messy, because every time the kick goes off and every time the bass drum goes off, they're like fighting for those frequencies. And so how does SideChain means like you kind of connect those two instruments together, and when the kick happens, it like takes away the bass drum frequencies, and you can say, when the kick happens, I don't want to hear any bass, or when the kick happens, just like duck the bass frequencies a little bit. So that's kind of the theoretical of what we're going to do right now. So we need to connect this bass track to this kick drum track. Oops. I can just skip that for now. So let's do that. I'll show you what we're doing. So how the first step we do that is we need to put a compressor on the bass track. So just go here. I'm going to use the Pro C2, and then I'll do this after with stock. Well, I'll do this right now with just some FabFilter. Like, these are paid plugins, but if you don't have these and you want me to do it stock plugins, please just let me know in the comments. But I'm going to continue with this for now. Okay, so that's a compressor. I'm actually going to use a multi-band compressor, and I'll show you why. So this is a multi-band compressor, and I'm just going to take a multi-band compressor is kind of like a compressor, but you can choose certain bands to increase or compress or increase. And so I'm just going to isolate the low signals here. And so I'm going to play my bass drum, and you'll see the signals come in here. So I'm going to basically connect this band to my kick drum. So when that kick drum comes in, it's going to duck these signals in. So how do you do that is on the right side, there's a sidechain, and this sidechain is here because it's so popular to sidechain things, and you do it on a compressor, and you can sidechain to anything really, but because my kick track here is an instrument track, I know it would be under instruments, and then because it's named kick, if you named it like something else, that name would be here. So that's what I'm going to sidechain it to, kick, and then it still hasn't connected yet. There's more to do to connect it. You have to make sure that it's an external connection here. So you have to press external, and then now it's connected. So you can see it going down. That's because the kick is happening there. So every time the kick is hitting, it's pushing these bass signals down, but it's not super drastic right now because we haven't switched these knobs. So if you really want a drastic bass compression, you would make a super fast attack, a super fast release, like the fastest you can go, and then your threshold all the way to like the lowest. This is going to be like super dramatic. Can you guys hear that in the comments? Let me know if you can. You drag this down. So this is something you might do in like dance music or something, EDM music, where the kick is very, very like, wow, the main thing really. And in pop music, maybe in other styles of music, you might not want to be so dramatic with the compression, because it can create a real compression can also be like a rhythm thing as well. So if you sometimes want a bit of a swing or a bit of a rhythm, you can sidechain more. Set the kick to 4/4. Okay, Shubham, I just saw your question. I'm asking how to edit after recording vocals. What do you want to edit specifically? I'm happy to answer your questions. This question is super broad, how to edit vocals, because when you edit vocals, it can be like, do you want to crossfade them? Do you want to cut them? Do you want to bounce them? Do you want to comp them? Tune them? So just give me like a bit of some context, some more. Hey Furkan, good to have you here. Hope all the single releases that you're doing are going well. So now that that's sidechained, we're good to go. And I'm gonna just like keep, that's all you have to do to sidechain the bass guitar. And you can sidechain anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be bass and the drums. It can be we can also sidechain this electric guitar if we want. You could sidechain anything. It's bass and the kick are the most popular thing to sidechain because they're the ones that share like that frequency the most. But if we wanted to say like a bit of the low end of this guitar, because you can see that there is some low end. Like if we didn't want that, if we wanted those signals just a little bit ducked when the kick came in, because let's say we wanted this, we would do the same thing, go to our kick and connect and figure out the band you want. Make sure this number is at 0. So And let me know if you need me to do it in Logic stock plugins in a comment, because I'd be happy to. So now the electric guitar is being ducked with these signals. Wow, it's been a day. Yeah, I'm good, Furkan. I'm doing well. Doing lots of teaching, lots of producing, lots of mixing. I have a single of my own coming out on January 29th, and it's called Goodbye. I'm very excited to release that. So now we've sidechained the electric guitar, we've sidechained the bass, and we could go on and sidechain, yeah, literally anything we want. I rarely, in my productions, I will sidechain the bass and sometimes the electric guitar, but not much else. So, yeah, what other kind of questions do you guys have in the chat? Because now that we've done this music production kind of goal of ours to compress the bass with our kick, we can kind of end the session unless you guys have more questions. I'd be happy to answer them. I'll spend like a couple minutes developing this song a little bit, and you can ask me questions in the meantime, and then, you know, after a few minutes goes by, we'll just end the session. So please do ask questions and use this time if you want to. But now I'm going to kind of build this song out a little bit. Can you sidechain multiple sounds of Ricardo to the same multi-band compressor? I think so. For example, let me see your question. So I'm assuming you mean like the same in this, for example, this multi-band compressor. Can I sidechain something to the bass guitar, for example? Is that what you mean? Multiple sounds to the same. So technically you can't. Because you can only go up here. Like there's no other option here to like do another side chain. You can side chain though. I think the workaround to your question is you can side chain to a bus track. So if you had a track with multiple sounds in it, then you can go and side chain to the bus. So if I had like, let's just add like, let's say like 3 audio tracks here, and I put them in a bus, a summing stack, and I called this like synths or something, like melody synths. So, and like I had all these sounds in here, and then I could go and side chain that to what number is it? It's bus 5. So, and then you can just go to bus 5 and sidechain that. And so now we're sidechaining it to the melody synths. So that would be the kind of workaround to your question. That's how I would approach it with multiple sounds on the same compressor. I want to sidechain guitar, bass, and keys to the bass drum. Oh yeah, totally. You can definitely do that. And you can do that either one at a time, like what we were doing here, bass, guitar, and let's say, so you want to sidechain guitar, bass, and keys. So yeah, you can go to bass, you can go to the keys now, we can sidechain this if we want to, doing the same thing. We can also do it to like, we can take the keys and bust that out to a sidechain output if we want. So instead of like, because it can get quite intensive on your computer, like if we had the guitar, the bass, and the keys with each sidechain compressor on every track, it will be like overworked. It's fine, you can do it that way, but it's more productive to think about it like, okay, let's send all these 3 tracks to a compressor, like one compressor that is connected to the kick drum, and you can have like a sidechain output, for example, a sidechain bus. So usually like people would have in their mixer window over here, these yellow tracks, they would have a sidechain track here, and then you could go and output or bus the signal to the sidechain. So that's how I would go about it. Cool. I'm just gonna, good question though. Very good question, because it's an important question to be like kind of thinking how to be productive in sessions. And that was one thing, like I think one weakness of mine at the beginning of my Logic journey was I would just be like abusing my computer and like having like massive chains of plugins, and my computer would be like, the fan would be like, and like it would be taking up the space. And eventually you start learning about busing and outputs, and you realize, oh, it's a lot more productive to do this kind of thing instead of, like crazy chains. Skeletons in Your Closet is on loop. Nice. Super cool. Heavy Soul. That is the best. The Skeletons in Your Closet, for anyone else listening, that was my latest signal. Oh my gosh, I keep messing up signal and single. That was my latest single happening, was out in October. Please go check that out if you haven't yet. So really appreciate that. All right, let's see what else we can do here. It's kind of a little cheesy, the keys here, but we can probably add some more chords. It's kind of turning into a bit fluffy. We'll find some edge in a second. So there's a top line melody. I'll just try to remember that. I'm adding sustain to the MIDI because I don't have a sustain pedal today. So that you can do it manually if you don't have a pedal. And it's just like 127 means it's sustained, and when you pump it down to 0, it means like your foot kind of goes off. So you want to, like, if you're going to draw this in manually, just make sure you do the pumps. What I mean by like these drops, just make sure they happen right after the end of the MIDI note. So it's like MIDI note, chord, ending, drop down, ending, drop down. Like, don't have those before, or else it's going to sound bad. So make sure they're like just a bit after. Just a bit after. We need a pump here. Pump. Yeah, we need a pump here, because if I didn't pump there, it would sustain that complete chord into the next one. All right, this is fine. It doesn't matter like the width of this stuff. It really matters that it goes down to 0 though. Hello, Ava. Nice to have you on the knowledge chat. Welcome back. It's great to have you here. Hope the songwriting is going well. Seth, thanks very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, okay. So maybe we can run that quickly, Ricardo, because I think that's probably valuable for people with the stock plugins doing a quick sidechain compression. Can you make a tutorial for progressive house music or future bass? Yeah, I'd be into that. I'm not sure, like my skill set really, and where I'm confident is definitely in pop music and kind of indie alternative pop. But I have made some dance songs before. So maybe, what are you kind of looking for, Heavy Soul, in terms of tutorials? Maybe I can help you out. Okay. All right, let's take off the sidechain compression on the bass, and let's start from scratch. We're going to sidechain the bass with our kick drum, and we're going to do it using stock Logic plugins. So bear with me, because it has been some time since I've done it with Logic plugins, but we will figure it out together. So dynamics, compressor, stereo. So we can just, let's get a classic or a vintage FET, and let's just compress, see what the compression is like. Cool. Okay, so same thing at the top. You see Logic has a sidechain and instrument and kick. Same thing. So if you had an audio bass, it would be in here. Let's see. So kick. Okay, so let's see. Now we have sidechain. Okay, so that was we need to click sidechain. That's really important. And we want to do a fast attack. Oops. All the knobs are different in here. Wow, sorry. I think I blew up my own ears there, so gotta be careful of that. Okay, so now we're crazy. You can really hear that if I turn the bass up. It's like really being ducked. And you can see you can see the meter, it's going wild. And you can hear that, like when the kick comes in, you can really hear the kick without the compressor. There's so much like tension and fighting with that the low end, right? If you hear it now, like you can really hear the bass, and that's great, but you can hardly notice the kick. It's overpowering the kick. Now with the compressor on, Now the kick is like way more prevalent. Obviously the mix is, the level is a bit wrong. That sub bass is massive. That ES1, I don't really use Logic, like, well, I haven't really been using Logic stock bass sounds because I use the Trillion virtual instrument, but this sound is massive. Like, yeah, it's a cool bass, super cool bass sound. The Logic sounds are really, really strong. Like, if you're just starting out with Logic, with producing music, take some time to go through the stock virtual instrument that Logic gives you, because they are really, really good. And it's so easy to be like, they suck because it's like part of the program, but paid must be better, right? But and that's not really true. But excuse me. All right. Like Avicii or Marshmallow songs. Yeah. I could definitely do that. I think, let me give you an idea of a song I just produced. It's kind of dancey. Let me just pull it up here. It's house vibes a bit. Let's see. I think this is it.
Don't stop, baby, got me like a disease. I like it, babe, when you're closer to me. Turn it up to 100 degrees. I like it, babe, if you know what I mean. You know you want me, babe. You know you need me. You know I got everything about me with the delight. To what I mean. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Yeah, so that kind of vibe, you know, like kick drum, lots of energy, lots of sweeps. They're really, really fun songs to make. So if that's the kind of energy that that you're looking for, or at least like tutorials around that, it could be something I'd be happy to do. And sidechain compression is like an EDM producer's best friend. The bass, the kick, and sidechain, they are all friends, best of friends. That's actually a cool thing to have a reverb up here, and I'm like just gonna add some reverb to the guitar here. If you don't know what pre-delay is, it's important to use this knob to your advantage. And a super like pre-delay means like the more pre-delay you have. So let's say it's 29 milliseconds pre-delay. That means it's gonna take 29 milliseconds for the reverb to start. And so a longer delay would sound like, I'll show you what it sounds like. That's probably the best thing, right? So that's like, and now no pre-delay. Huge difference, right? Now let's just do pre-delay again, so you see. So huge difference in space, and where you're telling the listener where the guitar is on stage. And yeah, so what I want to tell you about pre-delay is there's a simple calculation you can do. If I just bring up my calculator, it's 7,500 divided by your tempo, which is like 7,500 is just like the magic number, divided by your tempo. So mine's 120. And that would be, so this number is a good number to put in your pre-delay if you want pre-delay. And this would be like, I believe it's a 16th, 16th note of pre-delay. So it's kind of like the pre-delay is happening on the 16th note. So I can do 62 mils, 62.5. And that would be like, it helps you kind of keep things clean, because if your pre-delay is like happening at awkward times, not within your tempo, I mean, it's going to sound bad if multiple instruments are doing the same thing, because you're having like reverbs happening at weird times, and it's going to make things sound messy. So be careful with the pre-delay. If you are going to use it, make sure you use it in a smart way. I'm not sure if that was too technical for a live stream, but let's ask some questions then, if that was like total gibberish. But that sounds nice. Hello, Miss Michelle. Welcome back to the knowledge chat of music production live stream number 2. I'm just kind of going through this song here, guys, of what we're making, and you can ask questions, and I'm going to wrap it up in a little bit and finish for the night. So please, I do ask questions before I leave, and I'll probably stay for a couple more minutes. Yeah, but we've done sidechain compression in this video, and if you don't have any questions, ask like what other tutorials you want to see. So we kind of got like Avicii Marshmallow songs. We have Shubham, who wants to know how to edit vocals. I'm still waiting on you, Shubham, of your more specific questions about that. And I think that was it, right? Oh yeah. Right, the future-based stuff. Yeah, that's the Marshmallow stuff. Cool. Yeah, so what else do you guys want to see? Because I do take note of this. It's not like for serious. I have a note in my notes app where I'm like, what do people want? And then I eventually get to them. Let's add a melody before we go, because melodies are always fun. Oh yeah, I had this huge bus. I was talking to Ricardo about that. So I'm just going to delete this whole section. And maybe find like a cool sound in Alchemy, like a mallet-y, soft, soundy thingy. I'm not sure if that's going to work, but this is the fun. This is why producing is so fun, because you're like, you can do anything you want. And yeah, you can do anything you want. Tips on how to mimic live sounding drums when you lack a drummer and equipment to record a live drummer. Yeah, good question. Really good question. I will take note of that for sure. That's a biggie. Do you use kind of, in Ricardo, in your tracks or the tracks you're making, do you want to have that real sounding drum sound? Or do you want it to be more a mix of kind of modern, like electronic kind of punchiness with a bit of a warm feeling of a natural drum sound? Mixing rap and hip hop vocals. Cool. I'm going to be honest with you, Junior. I'm not a rap producer, so I can definitely make a tutorial on vocals and mixing vocals, but I think there's some specifics about rap where, like that I'm not sure of, so I might miss you on that, but maybe there's the principles are very much the same. I use the fade tool a ton though, so I can do that for sure. Here's a cool melody. Yeah, just something major, scale-ish. Okay, like that. And then once I have the MIDI, I can just find another sound that I like if I don't, because this sound is pretty lame. So I can cut it there and do, actually. Okay. It's kind of it's turning into summer here, I think. Just having some fun with this. If you're still with us, this is like Hawaii vibes or something. I'm not really sure what's happening right now. This is a delay tool by Sound Toys. Let's just see what that sounds like for a second. Using acoustic samples from a MIDI device. Acoustic samples from a MIDI device. Can they be also Ricardo non-samples, like just in samples in general? Because totally, definitely we can do that. And there's also have a YouTube video on that on my channel. EDM artists know the importance of sidechain compression. Definitely. Sidechain compression and EDM artists. Like peas in a pod. Peas in a pod for sure. So this is how I kind of go about the song, guys. I would just kind of keep throwing ideas at it, melodies, and just doing like small mixing stuff that is like mixing, producing stuff here. Like I added some reverb because that was like a production thing, and not so much, and constantly just like leveling the faders a bit, but not really worrying too much about the mix really right now. Just the mix, the producing mix. And then I get a vibe going on the chorus. Like this wouldn't be the verse. This is kind of more like this section here. So I really get this vibe, chorus vibe going, and then building out like the dynamic between coming up with the verses and I would go about it this way if I was just producing a song, an instrumental song almost. If I wanted if I was like in the mood to write lyrics, I would probably not do this right now. So I would just mute these tracks, and I'd probably throw bass and drums down, and then maybe like loop these a bit. Just go crazy on the loops, and then like get an audio track going. My computer might explode if I start recording, but let's try it anyways. Like recording vocals. And then I would record some melodies. Just kind of fooling around here, but like this is what I would do, and then I'd be like, oh, this part here, is cool, let's do that part's, that's cool, right? So maybe I just duplicate this track and bring that down to like remember it later, and then caught on, babe. Caught on me, babe. Go on, living, And then I just said like call on me, baby. That is a Carly Rae Jepsen song. But it doesn't have to be that. But I actually just said that by accident here. Caught on, babe. Caught on me, babe. And then I really kind of go about it like this, and I find words that I'm actually just gibbering out, or sometimes I'm like, I want to write a song about this. Yeah, guys, this is how I write music. Let me know what you think, and let's write a song from scratch next time. We can totally do that. I actually kind of wanted to do it today, but I really was just like in the mood to do sidechain compression. All right. We'll see you guys soon. I've made note of all your comments in the description, or the comments. I've made a note of all your comments in the comments. Wow. Great sentence, Charles. Great sentence. And I will see you guys in the next one. But I've actually made notes of your questions. Okay, wait, last question. Oh man, let's say you're making a rock track and you record your guitar bass key straight into Logic, and now you need a kit and to add to it. A rock track, eh? Okay, you recorded all your, so you're doing audio recordings, guitar, bass, keys, straight into Logic. Okay. And now you need a kit. So, okay, I assume, yeah, you don't have a drummer or a kit on you. So, I would, okay, my first like thing would just be to get the drummer tracks going. So track, new software instrument track. Oh, sorry, no, that's wrong. Track, new drummer track. And then I'd kind of go through these. Let's use this as an example. So let's mute our drums. Let's just put our drum kit up here. Now, the drummer tracks in Logic are great to get ideas, and you don't have to use them, but you can use the ideas if you want, and you can re-record the ideas with real samples of drums that you'd prefer, or maybe you get the idea you really like and you get a friend to record with an actual drum set. But using the different drums available would be the way I would start. So like they have a rock category here, even in the library. And then you can use these drummers. So like, let's do Max. He's a punk rocker and he plays drums like this. Okay, so not maybe the right vibe for our song, but probably a right vibe for a pop punk song. But you can use the quadratic here to get quick ideas. And then you can isolate actual elements on the right side, and you can switch on the left side these presets. And there's tons and tons of patterns and ideas here that you can go through, not to mention like, okay, we don't like Max, let's go to like Anders or Jesse, and it will just say, do you want to change the drummer? Yes. And then do the same thing and get ideas about patterns you like. And you can always re-record those ideas with using your own samples. That's how I would start about it. Give me on the next one. Have a good day. Yeah, man. Have a good day too. I'm going to run because I'm losing my voice and I can't talk anymore, as you guys have probably noticed. So we will catch you in the next one. Thanks for everyone for joining. I'm doing a live session music marketing on Friday. So let's get our music heard. Let's release it and get it out to the world. And we'll see you guys.